Hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the channel, where we're all about living healthier, happier, and wiser as we embrace our golden years. I'm so glad you're here today because we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart, literally. Today, we're talking about 6 subtle signs your heart is struggling. Save your life before it's too late. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond, this video is for you. Our hearts work hard for us every single day. But sometimes they send us quiet little signals that something's not quite right. And let me tell you, catching these signs early can make all the difference. You know, as we get older, life gets fuller, grandkids, retirement plans, maybe a new hobby or two. But it's so easy to brush off little aches, pains, or weird feelings and chalk them up to just getting older. I've been there myself. A few years ago, I started feeling this odd tiredness that I couldn't shake, and I thought, oh, it's just stress, or maybe I'm not sleeping enough. But then I learned something that changed how I listen to my body. Our hearts don't always scream for help. Sometimes they whisper, and those whispers, they're worth paying attention to. So grab a cup of coffee, tea, or maybe some water. Hydration is key, right? And let's have a heart-to-heart. I'm going to walk you through 6 subtle signs that your heart might be struggling. These aren't the obvious chest pain or heart attack symptoms we all know about. These are the sneaky ones that can slip under the radar. My goal today is to share this with you like we're sitting down together, maybe on a porch swing or at the kitchen table, just chatting as friends. I'm no doctor, but I've spent years researching, talking to experts, and learning from folks just like you who want to live long, vibrant lives. And if you stick around until the end, I'll share a little bonus tip, a simple habit that can keep your heart humming along happily. Before we jump in, if you find this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. It means the world to our little community here, and it helps us reach more people who want to age wisely and well. All right, let's get started. Sign number 1. You're tired all the time, even after rest. Let's start with something we've all felt at some point. Fatigue. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of tired you feel after a long day of gardening or chasing after your grandkids. I'm talking about that bone-deep exhaustion that sticks around even after a good night's sleep. You wake up, and you still feel like you could crawl right back into bed. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Your heart is like the engine of your body. It pumps blood to every single cell, delivering oxygen and nutrients. If your heart is struggling, maybe because of clogged arteries, high blood pressure, or even a weakened heart muscle, it has to work harder to do its job. And when it's working overtime, you feel less fatigue. It's like try to drive a car with a half-clogged fuel line. The engine sputters, and you don't get the power you need. I remember talking to my friend Linda, who's in her late 50s. She's always been active, loves her yoga classes and long walks with her dog. But she started noticing she was dragging by mid-afternoon, even on days when she hadn't done much. She thought maybe it was menopause or just getting older, but when she mentioned it to her doctor, they ran some tests and found her blood pressure was creeping up, putting extra strain on her heart. A few lifestyle changes and a little medication later, she's back to her energetic self. So, what should you do if you're feeling this kind of tiredness? First, don't ignore it. Keep a little journal for a week. Write down when you feel exhausted, what you were doing, and how long it lasts. Then, take that to your doctor. They might suggest a stress test, an EKG, or even a simple blood test to check for things like anemia or thyroid issues, which can also mimic heart-related fatigue. And here's a pro tip. Make sure you're staying hydrated and eating heart-healthy foods like oats, berries, and leafy greens. Sometimes, small changes can make a big difference. Sign number 2, you're short of breath doing simple things. Next up, let's talk about shortness of breath. Now, if you're huffing and puffing after climbing a big hill, that's one thing. But if you're feeling winded just walking to the mailbox or carrying a basket of laundry, that's a red flag. Your heart and lungs work together like a dynamic duo. And if your heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, your lungs have to pick up the slack. That can leave you feeling like you can't catch your breath. I'll never forget my neighbor Tom's story. Tom's in his early 60s, a retired teacher who loves tinkering in his garage. He started noticing he'd get out of breath just walking from his house to his workshop, a distance of maybe 50 feet. He laughed it off at first, saying, "Guess I'm not as young as I used to be." But his wife wasn't having it. She made him see a cardiologist, and it turned out he had a partially blocked artery. A stent and some meds later, he's back to his old self, building birdhouses and joking about his new and improved heart. If this sounds like you, here's what to do. Pay attention to when you feel short of breath. Does it happen at rest, or only when you're moving? Does it come with other symptoms, like dizziness or chest discomfort? Write it down and share it with your doctor. They might recommend a test called an echocardiogram, which is like an ultrasound for your heart, to see how it's pumping. In the meantime, try gentle exercises like walking or chair yoga to keep your heart and lungs working together. And if you smoke, please consider getting support to quit. Your heart will thank you. Sign number 3, your ankles or feet are swelling. All right, let's move on to sign number 3. Swelling in your ankles, feet, or even your legs. In medical terms, this is called edema, but you might just notice your shoes feel tight or your socks leave marks on your skin. This can happen for a lot of reasons, but one big one is that your heart isn't pumping blood as effectively as it should. When that happens, blood can pool in your lower body, and fluid starts to leak into your tissues, causing swelling. I saw this firsthand with my Aunt Margaret. She's in her late 60s. Loves her book club, and is always baking something delicious. A couple of years ago, she started complaining that her ankles looked puffy by the end of the day. She thought it was because she was on her feet too much. But when the swelling didn't go away, her doctor diagnosed her with mild heart failure. Not the scary kind you might be thinking of, but a condition where her heart was a little weaker than it should be. With some medication and a low-sodium diet, she's managing just fine now. Here's what to watch for. Swelling that gets worse throughout the day, especially if it's in both legs or feet. Press gently on the swollen area. If it leaves a dent that slowly fills back in, that's a sign to talk to your doctor. They might check your heart with a test like a BNP blood test, which can show if your heart is under stress. At home, try elevating your legs when you sit down and cut back on salty foods like chips or canned soups. Oh, and compression socks can be a game changer. My aunt swears by them. Sign number 4. You feel dizzy or lightheaded. Number 4 is dizziness or lightheadedness. You know that feeling when you stand up too fast and the room spins for a second? That's normal now and then. But if you're feeling dizzy or like you might faint, especially during light activity or even at rest, your heart might be trying to tell you something. If it's not pumping enough blood to your brain, you can feel woozy or unsteady. This one hits close to home for me. A few years back, I started getting these weird dizzy spells, especially after meals. I thought maybe I was dehydrated or my blood sugar was off. But when I mentioned it to my doctor, they checked my blood pressure and heart rhythm. Turns out I had an irregular heartbeat, nothing major, but enough to cause those symptoms. A small tweak to my diet and some medication fixed it right up. If you're feeling dizzy, here's what to do. First, sit or lie down right away to avoid falling. Then, track when it happens. Is it after standing, eating, or exercising? Share that with your doctor, who might suggest a Holter monitor to track your heart rhythm for a day or two. At home, make sure you're drinking enough water and avoid standing up too quickly. If you're on blood pressure meds, double check with your doctor to make sure they're not too strong for you. Sign number 5. You have pain in weird places. Okay, sign number 5 is a sneaky one. Pain or discomfort in places you wouldn't expect, like your jaw, neck, shoulders, or even your stomach. We all know chest pain is a classic heart attack symptom, but your heart can send pain signals to other parts of your body, too. This is especially true for women, who often experience heart issues differently than men. My friend Sarah learned this the hard way. She's 55, a busy mom and grandmother who runs her own small business. She started getting this nagging pain in her jaw and neck, especially when she was stressed or walking her dog. She thought it was TMJ or maybe a pulled muscle. But when it kept happening, she saw a cardiologist who found a blockage in one of her arteries. A procedure cleared up, and she's back to her unstoppable self. If you're feeling pain in your jaw, neck, shoulders, arms, or stomach, especially if it comes with other symptoms like shortness of breath or nausea, don't wait. Call your doctor or even 911 if it's severe. Keep a log of when and where you feel the pain, and note if it happens during activity or rest. And here's a little tip. Try to manage stress with deep breathing or meditation. Stress can make heart symptoms worse, and calming your mind can help your heart. Sign number 6. Your heart feels like it's racing or skipping beats. Finally, let's talk about heart palpitations. That feeling like your heart is racing, fluttering, or skipping a beat. It's like your heart's doing a little dance and not the fun kind. This can happen for lots of reasons, like too much caffeine, stress, or dehydration. But if it's happening often or feels intense, it could be a sign of an irregular heartbeat, like atrial fibrillation, which can strain your heart over time. I'll share a quick story about my cousin Mike. He's in his early 60s, loves his golf games and barbecues. He started noticing his heart would flip-flop every now and then, especially after a big meal or a glass of wine. He ignored it for months, thinking it was just his body being quirky. But when he finally got it checked, his doctor found he had AFib, a common heart rhythm issue. With medication and some lifestyle tweaks, he's doing great now. If you feel palpitations, try this. Take a deep breath, hold it for a few seconds, and exhale slowly. Sometimes that can calm your heart down. Keep track of when it happens and what you were doing. Were you stressed, dehydrated, or maybe you had an extra coffee? Share that with your doctor, who might suggest an ECG or a wearable heart monitor. At home, cut back on caffeine and alcohol and make sure you're getting enough sleep. A rested body is a happy heart. Bonus tip: the power of a heart-healthy habit. All right, I promise you a bonus tip, and here it is. Make walking your daily heart-healthy habit. It's so simple, but it's one of the best things you can do for your heart. Aim for 20 to 30 minutes a day, even if it's just a stroll around your neighborhood or a walk with a friend. Walking lowers blood pressure, reduces stress, and keeps your heart strong. Plus, it's a great way to clear your mind and soak up some wisdom from the world around you. I started walking every morning a few years ago, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer. I put on some music or a podcast, and it's my time to think, dream, and just be. Try it for a week, and I bet you'll feel the difference. Well, my friends, there you have it. 6 subtle signs your heart might be struggling, plus a little bonus tip to keep it strong. I hope this has been helpful, and maybe even a little eye-opening. Our hearts are incredible, aren't they? They keep us going through every laugh, every tear, every moment of joy and challenge. But they need our love and attention, too. If any of these signs sound familiar, please don't wait. Make that doctor's appointment, have that conversation, and take that first step toward feeling better. You're worth it, and the people who love you want you around for a long, long time. And even if you're feeling great, keep listening to your body. Those little whispers can tell us so much if we're willing to hear them. Before I go, I want to leave you with a quote that's been on my mind lately. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. That's true for your heart, too. Start today, whether it's a walk, a healthier meal, or just a moment to breathe and appreciate the life you're living. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's keep this community growing, sharing wisdom, and living our best lives together. Drop a comment below. Tell me which of these signs surprised you the most, or share a heart-healthy habit you love. I read every single one, and I love hearing from you. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your heart, and keep shining. I'll see you in the next video.